1982, Honorable Speaker, to find an institution such as that was able to safely deliver somebody who can become a senator for Nairobi. It was not easy, Honorable Speaker. So it breaks my heart that has befallen that hospital, and all it takes is for this government to ensure that the system they have put in place when it comes to management of our healthcare, it works. If it works, you don't need to defend it. You see, this is the problem I have, Honorable Speaker. Everybody can see when something is working, and if you defend it so hard, and the people in the villages there, I was in a very rural village called Luhome, somewhere in Saboti, Honorable Speaker, over the weekend. And I can tell you, the question was put to those women. They have lost Linda Mama. SHA is no longer working. It doesn't work for them. So why do we insist, instead of just taking back this feedback and tweaking the system, the way that CBK dealt with the questions that were raised about voiding of payments, and they have told us that they have taken steps to ensure that it will no longer be possible for county officials to void payments. That is the sort of government we want, a government that just listens to criticism and takes corrective measures. I was very pleased myself when, after bringing the question of university accommodation fees here, the ministry actually took steps to correct that. That is what we expect from a government that is responsive, not just being defensive and sending hecklers to heckle us down here in Parliament whenever we raise these issues. People like, I don't want to mention them, Honorable Speaker. I've finished. Thank you.
Senator Tabitha Mutinda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I rise, first of all, to really appreciate the Committee of Delegated Legislation, led by none other than the Senator of Tharaka Nithi, Mofaya. Madam Speaker, I was just looking at the issues that the committee looked at, you know, as far as, yes, we are trying to address that the issue of public participation, which was lastly conducted in 2015. 10 years down the line, Madam Speaker, according to the report that I've looked into, although I've had colleagues talk about 2018, but just to clarify from their report, they're saying that it was the year 2015, Madam Speaker. I've also tried to look at the issues that they were able to raise, Madam Speaker, and they are very valid issues. One of them, Madam Speaker, being on the issues of the cost or the fees that needs to be charged. These are fees that had been proposed those 10 years ago, Madam Speaker. We are 10 years down the line and things have changed. And the committee felt that there needs to be an intervention as far as these fees are concerned, because the fees that had been proposed at that particular time were on the higher side, Madam Speaker. The other issues that I've also looked at that the committee was also able to raise was the issue of obstruction by community members from accessing the resources in the forest, Madam Speaker. And the committee felt that this needs to have changed because it protects their interest as a community, and there should not be obstruction in them being able to access. These are very valid concerns, Madam Speaker. And these issues can only be addressed when proper public fair participation is done, and the people are given an opportunity to be able to air their views, give their proposals, offer their submissions, Madam Speaker, so that some of these issues can be able to be addressed. And it is good that institutions respect the process of legislation, the process that requires maximum public participation. Madam Speaker, that is why we normally, as committees, have budgets of media budgets. These are budgets that are entitled to each committee, whereby the committee is able to advertise to the public for those who wish to participate in the public participation, Madam Speaker, so that they are able to maximally bring in their views. The committee is able to look at, into those issues and also be able to, you know, give guidance or see what fits here, what does not fit here, and all that. That is the main reason, Madam Speaker. And it is important, Madam Speaker, to say, if it was just in our space to legislate without public participation, then, I mean, it will not really be fair to the public, because these laws are not for us as individuals, as members. These laws are for this country, Madam Speaker. And they cut across for every Kenyan, Madam Speaker. And so advertisement of the same is very important. Madam Speaker, I've seen also whereby the same committee, delegated committee, Madam Speaker, was able to question where, if the ministry had prepared and submitted a regulatory impact statement, and there was no documentation that had been provided to show whether the public was notified, Madam Speaker. And the committee was able to trace that there was no documentation that could be traced at all. Very valid concerns, meaning that the committee was able to dig deeper. First, on if there was any documentation, and two, analyzing the regulations that are currently in place. Are they worthy to be in place in this year, 2025? Madam Speaker, further then, when you look at the years that we're talking about from 2015 to date, when we normally invite most of these public offices or these different stakeholders, in most cases they are normally accompanied by their legal teams. And so I wonder, I really wonder where the legal department has been, because this is laxity for the legal department in the same ministry. They should be the ones advising the minister. They should be the ones advising as far as all these concerns, you know, are. Because if they had done their part, then we would not be actually here looking at this nullification. And I'm bringing this because, Madam Speaker, they should be able now and should work with speed with the same leadership of the committee to ensure that they submit the right changes through the same public participation and properly advise the same ministry so that these changes can be adapted with the current place where we are today in 2025. And I speak from where I sit as also a member of the climate caucus led by ours truly, Senator Kajwang. Because today in 2025, we are speaking matters climate change. These are issues that need to be captured in the same regulations, Madam Speaker. And I feel it's just a matter of the people, the officials or officers who are mandated to be able to undertake their legal mandate have not been up to the task as required, Madam Speaker. And it should be known that public participation is not specific to any, it is open to all Kenyans, to all stakeholders who want to have and put their input as far as specific legislation is concerned, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as the debate has been going on, I've been keen to hear my colleagues when they talked about the issue of SHA, Madam Speaker. And this is a very important discussion. I speak as a member of the Health Committee, Madam Speaker, and we've been out there doing our oversight, visiting different hospitals, level 5 hospital, the county, sub-county hospitals, and I personally have been keen on getting to understand, is SHA working? And if it's not working, what is the challenge? And Madam Speaker, in most, and as recent as Kilifi County, where we were actually last weekend, one of my concerns was from the desk of, is it the desk of admissions, the person who is in charge in terms of receiving payments and also the issues of SHA. And we were able to ask as a committee, is SHA working? The response was, yes, it is working. The only challenge that was in place is that there was no digitalization. People had to really leave their ID cards, be given a small form, they fill up, but also the same clients or the patients who are in that particular hospital, we were able to interact with them and ask them, is SHA working? And according to them, they said yes, and they are sorted and the process is ongoing, Madam Speaker. There should be conversations of, this is the specific challenge. It cannot just be generalized that it is not working. It is good to say what specifically is not working. What is the exact problem, what is the exact challenge, Madam Speaker, but not just a generalization that a system is not working. I've had my senator talk about the hospital that he proudly says he was born in, which is good, and asked, what will I tell the future generation, my generation, if this hospital does not exist? It's the same question I asked today. What will we say if we still continue allowing people to put fire in this country, to burn this country? Then where will we say we are coming from? Which Kenya will we call home, Madam Speaker? It is important that as much as we are highlighting the problem, we highlight the problem, and at the same time, offer solution unto the same problem. It cannot just be negative critique without a solution. Leadership is identifying the problem, and leadership is also offering the same problem on the same platform. We are not going to get out here in Senate after 2027 with certificate of either who was shouting more than the other, who had more point of orders than the other. It is not about that. It is what we've been able to deliver as a house. There is no law that is for Senator Boni Halwale. There is no law that is for senior Senator Oburu Odinga. This law is for us as a country, as the people of this nation. That should sink very well, Madam Speaker. But it's not about the highest shouting person. With those many and few, I really appreciate the committee on the same and urge them through their leadership to fast track that these amendments and these regulations will be up to date. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Kajwang.
Madam Speaker, I rise to support the recommendation of the Committee on Delegated Legislation that the House should annul the Environmental Management and Coordination, Strategic and Integrated Environmental Assessments and Environmental Audits Regulations 2025 of 2025. Madam Speaker, I have looked at the two main reasons that have been advanced by the committee, and I do agree that those reasons are solid enough for this House to be moved to annul those regulations. The first reason given is lack of public participation. Public participation on these regulations were done in the year 2018. And Madam Speaker, if you live in this country, you know that the political environment and terrain in this country has changed significantly from 2018 to date. Perhaps even the aspirations of Kenyans have changed. Perhaps even the policy and focus of government has changed. In fact, it has changed significantly. In 2018, Madam Speaker, we are talking of the Big Four. And 2018, Madam Speaker, one very interesting thing is that Senator Boni Halwale and I were riding on the top of a similar vehicle when we were welcoming Baba from the United States of America. And we were tear gassed, we were clobbered for 6 hours. When we got to Gikomba, Madam Speaker, the traders in Gikomba came out with the sticks and rungus and were generally very violent. Senator Boni Halwale disappeared. I've not known to date how he got out of my car, but the situation was very tense. That was 2018. Today, Boni Halwale is a chief whip of the government. And so the views given in 2018, really, Madam Speaker, we cannot use them to support or to augment regulations in the year 2025. Madam Speaker, we have moved full cycle from Big Four. We went to handshake. We went to Tanga regime. We got into a new government that started with bottom up. And then from bottom up, it was, after bottom up, it was, before it was shareholders. It was a government of shareholders. After becoming a government of shareholders, it then became a government whose, to whom the most urgent national priority was to eject the deputy president. And then after that, it became the government of broad base. And now, at least, the nation has stabilized. Madam Speaker, you cannot use public participation of 2018 to support regulations today. A lot of things have changed in this country. And in fact, Madam Speaker, to be honest, if assuming the former deputy president was involved in public participation in 2018 in these regulations, do you think we will hold the same views that he held in 2018 today? Definitely not. And that is why public participation must be timely. It must be current. It must be relevant. It needs to be fresh. It needs to be like news. On that basis, Madam Speaker, I agree with the committee that these regulations must be annulled and should be rejected. The second basis is that when the regulations were published, the fees and tariffs were not included. And Madam Speaker, that is an extremely material feature or aspect of regulations that cannot be ignored. Because the Statutory Instruments Act has a very clear definition of what a statutory instrument is. And Madam Speaker, for avoidance of doubt, it talks about any rule, any order, any regulation, any direction, any form, any tariff of costs or fees. You cannot exclude tariff of costs and fees from such regulation and then give the Cabinet Secretary the power to impose that. Madam Speaker, we must remember that delegated legislation or statutory instruments, I think in the UK they call it secondary legislation. It is this parliament that has donated the power that has been given to it by the people to the executive. But Madam Speaker, sometimes, and this debate has been going on in the Commons, there's been concern about what is called skeleton legislation, where parliament passes a framework, a skeleton, and then says the Cabinet Secretary shall prescribe regulations. We did that with the Health Acts. When we were in Turkana, Madam Speaker, we were in a rush because the President told us that something good was brewing and that if we passed the 4 Health Acts, then everyone was going to get free medication in this country. We are going to get free health insurance. And Madam Speaker, every time I sit in the committee, I chair a Public Accounts Committee, I see governors present their receiver of revenue statements. And they come and tell me they are proud that they've grown their own source revenue. And they have grown it from hospitals. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 hospitals. And I ask myself, if governors are making so much money out of hospitals, then where is this promise and dream of free and universal health coming from? I expect that in the next financial year, every governor would be reporting 0 as fees collected from people in level 1, level 2, level 3, and perhaps even level 4 hospital. But look at all the counties, including my own county. We have grown our own source revenue beyond 1 billion Kenya shillings on the strength of hospital fees. Why are we still collecting money from the poor people? And yet we are supposed to be having one universal healthcare system and insurance in this republic. It's because we passed skeleton legislation. We were in a rush to get out of Turkana. We were in a rush to pass the legislation. And then we said the Cabinet Secretary shall prescribe and shall come up with regulations. Madam Speaker, I want to congratulate Senator Mofaya, who chairs this committee. And I keep reminding him that this is one of the most powerful committees of this House, because it ensures that that power that has been donated to the executive cannot be abused. It has been abused grossly in the past. I can give you a few examples, Madam Speaker. I've given the example of the Health Acts. We passed in this House the Fisheries Management and Development Act. That was in the year 2016. And it is one of the proudest laws. I just come into Parliament, and I was so proud that we are coming up with a regulatory and legislative framework that was going to open up our blue economy and that was going to make our people rich, that was going to make our people benefit from the natural resources that have been put in the seas and the lakes and the oceans that we have around us. To date, Madam Speaker, you have regulations that have not been brought to this House. And as a result, the Fisheries Management and Development Act cannot be enforced. Indeed, Madam Speaker, it is an insult to the fisher folk in this country when we heard the other day that the Fish Marketing Authority and Kenya Fisheries Services are some of the state organizations that are bound to be disbanded because they are offering no value. Madam Speaker, when we came up with specific parastatals and bodies to support specific crops, for example, the Dairy Board supports the dairy sector. I've not heard anyone say the Dairy Board should be disbanded. The Coffee Board, the Tea Board. Madam Speaker, when Mwai Kibaki became president, the policy was consolidation. And we came up with one super agency called AFA, Agriculture, Food, Fisheries, and Livestock Authority. But along the way, it was clear that AFA did not have the capacity to deliver the changes and the dream that was in the strategy for revitalization of agriculture that was espoused by Mwai Kibaki. As a result, people started divesting. Fisheries divested, coffee divested, tea divested, dairy divested, even livestock. I believe there's a livestock bill before this house. Why should the other sectors divest? And then when it comes to our fish, we are being told that that is going to be too small a parastatal, and that parastatal, whatever it is doing, can be done by the ministry. If that is the case, then let's collapse everything else so that we are equal. Madam Speaker, the same absurdity extended to the Cotton Development Act. This House, this Parliament, passed the Cotton Development Bill, which was sponsored by Senator Betsy Yengo. Both houses agreed. The bill was sent to the President for assent. The President did not assent on time. And then 3 months later, as an afterthought, the President returned the bill back to Parliament with a memorandum. And what was the memorandum saying? That it is not government policy to establish additional boards, that the cotton development and management can be done by the line ministry. We don't hear the same argument when it comes to other crops and products. Madam Speaker, I hope that the Agriculture Committee, where I sit, has reported back to this House that the committee rejected the President's memorandum because they were filed outside time. So that what now we expect is gazettement of the Cotton Development Act and for its implementation so that cotton farmers can also be considered to be part of this republic, just the same way farmers of other crops and products have been given protection, have been given autonomy, have been given statutory independence. That is what we expect for cotton and we expect for fisheries. In this Parliament, Madam Speaker, you have seen regulations have been circulated to honorable members regarding the Parliamentary Service Commission constituency office regulations. Madam Speaker, that has been the biggest joke in this Parliament, that this Senate has failed to influence the publication of regulations that will ensure that the office of the Senate is treated slightly differently from the office of the Member of National Assembly. The reason why, and perhaps the public needs to know this, that a senator like Senator of Nairobi, who has how many constituencies? Has 17 constituencies. The money that is sent to support the operations of the senator from Nairobi is the same amount of money that is sent to a single member constituency. And yet it takes care of 17 electoral units. I take care of 8, Madam Speaker. The resource, the budget, the envelope I have for staff and operations, and even office rent, can only keep me in one place. I cannot be present in all the 8 constituencies or all the 40 wards. Why? Because our hands are tied by that regulation that defined our offices as constituency offices. Madam Speaker, I have been in this argument from the 11th Parliament, when Kiraitu Murungi attempted to move an amendment to the Parliamentary Service Commission Act to establish alternative structures that would give specialized focus and attention to the Senate. It was killed in the 11th Parliament. In the 12th Parliament, we tried again. We even went to the United States of America, Madam Speaker. We visited about 5 states. We went through state legislatures to understand the relationship between state legislatures, to understand the relationship and operations of Congress and the House of Representatives. We came back with a report. Again, we proposed amendments to those regulations. They were again vetoed. They were actually vetoed by the other house, and that time, our late departed friend, the late senator for Baringo, the Honorable Cheptumo, was the chair of that committee. I am glad that before his demise, he had the decency and he had the courage to apologize in this house, because he said when he was on that side, he never understood what happened in the Senate. So, Madam Speaker, statutory instruments and delegated legislation has been used and has been abused, but people think that it is the laziness of representatives in these houses that leads to that abuse, that we are quick to pass a framework or we are quick to pass a skeleton of a law, and then we leave it to the cabinet secretaries to fill the blanks. And some of them really abuse that. One of the abused statutory instruments was the Equalization Fund Management Regulations. Madam Speaker, those regulations came to this house at at the end of the 12th Parliament, there was a lot of pressure. There was a handshake scenario. And then the chair of that committee was the senator from Mombasa, Senator Faki. And so Senator Faki had to convince the House to pass regulations that excluded senators from the equalization fund. And the regulations created structures at county level where the money from the equalization fund would be managed through a county technical committee chaired by the county commissioner, where the county government had only one representative, one CEC. But the NGCDF also had a representative in that county technical committee. It went down to the constituency technical committee, all the way down to the ward technical committee. Today, many of us are unaware of what the equalization fund is doing in our respective areas. Even governors do not know what the equalization fund is doing. Why? Because the money is considered to be national government that is managed through national government administrative structures. And that is why yesterday we had this problem, where the National Assembly has come up with a parallel bill on the equalization fund, because they still think that that money is theirs, that money is for their control, but we allowed it to happen, Madam Speaker. I wish Senator Faki was here. He would have told us that he promised this House that let us pass these regulations to allow access to the fund, because the fund had not been drawn for a long time for lack of regulations. And he promised, and he told us here that the government had promised that we're going to bring amendments. To date, I do not think the amendments that have been brought. And so that is why we must annul these regulations, so that no one promises us that they'll be amended. They will never be amended out of experience. Madam Speaker, let me finalize by calling upon my colleagues that whatever we are doing here in this House is our primary responsibility as elected leaders. Madam Speaker, a poll was conducted in the United Kingdom to find out what the public expects of members of parliament. Lawmaking was like the last priority or the last expectation. If a similar poll was to be conducted here in Kenya, Madam Speaker, I can tell you that the people we represent, their expectation of a member of parliament, including senator and member of National Assembly, expectation number one is to build classrooms. Expectation number two, to issue bursaries. Number three, to attend funerals. Number four, to issue handouts without fail. Number five is to attend rallies where you can insult imaginary and real enemies. And number 5, 6 could be issuance of statements. Lawmaking is the least glamorous and is the least considered job of a member here. Madam Speaker, I see and I admire even the new members of this parliament. Senator Sifuna joined in this 13th parliament. He is here not just because he's a whip, but he believes that the core mandate, the critical duty of a legislator is to legislate, not empowerment rallies, even though I saw him doing an empowerment one the other day. But it is not the money that caught my attention. It was the conversation that caught my attention. But that's a story for another day. But he knows that being in this House is the reason why the people of Nairobi elected him. Madam Speaker, the senator from Nandi, he is in this House religiously, even though he's a bit of a noisy one, but he knows that that is the core mandate of a senator or a representative who has been brought here. Let me call upon my brothers and sisters who have been elected that at the end of the day, the funerals you contribute to, the handouts you give, they'll be like no one will remember them, Madam Speaker. Out of my experience, it is the last person to do a Harambee who is remembered. The Harambee you did in 2021, 2022, 2023. In 2026, your opponent will do a bigger Harambee. He'll come with Farouk to do a bigger Harambee. All your small Harambees will have been forgotten. But your record and active participation in Parliament will live on. Madam Speaker, today we went to do prayers for Phoebe Asio. And everyone reminds Phoebe Asio for the motion that she introduced in this House that called for gender equity, that called for opening up the space. People did not eulogize her because she did a Harambee somewhere and donated desks, or because she sorted out some boys in some center. People like Martin Shikuku are remembered for their speeches and statements in this house. People like George Anyona, it's not because of their donations. And so as we head into the weekend, and I know some of my colleagues are going to board choppers and are going for empowerment things, please, let us focus on policy, legislation, regulation that can provide a level playing field for all Kenyans to be able to access opportunities, for all Kenyans to get empowerment. The idea of donating 64 shillings to women groups or 1,000 shillings to women group is tokenism, is a handout culture. And Madam Speaker, the party that I subscribe to, the ODM party, has always been against using Harambee as a model for development, because Harambee fuels corruption. When someone whose salary at net is 150,000 is donating 5 million in 1 month, that is corruption looking at you straight in the eye. And Madam Speaker, we are not going to grow this country if we continue with this pretense of empowerment rallies and empowerment Harambees. That cannot be our model for development. Madam Speaker, I support, yes.
Senator Kajwang, do you want to be informed?
Cautiously, yes. Very cautiously.
Madam Speaker, I want to inform my chair, Park, and I like his eloquence, that the ODM Secretary General, Senator Sifunda, donated 1 million in Saboti, Amis. So does it mean, if he says they don't subscribe, does it mean there is that there should be clarity on what he say?
Senator Kajwang.
Madam Speaker, that is a frivolous point of information. My Secretary General declared the source of his contribution. He declared, including members of this House, and so he fully accounted for it. Madam Speaker, with those many remarks, I support the report of the committee.
Senator Seki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also take this opportunity to put my voice on this report on the delegated legislation chaired by Honorable Mofaya and the members on this issue of to null the report on this environment report. Honorable Speaker, I, sincerely speaking, want to support and even thank the committee for going against what is not supposed to be, because you see they are also working under pressure. But this is a report that has been submitted to this House with the stakeholders' engagement, where they have engaged the stakeholders also informed the committee on the regulation that the state corporation has been using, or even the PS or the ministry has been using, without passing through passing through Parliament. Honorable Speaker, it is true that government need to use or even to regularize or operationalize regulations that have gone through this House, Honorable Speaker. And in most cases, we have seen a number of regulations, guidelines that are not going through, that have not come through this House, being operationalized by the ministries or state corporations, and it becomes a very big problem to the members of the public and to the entire nation. For in terms of charges, in terms of punitive charges, or even penalties, or through financial or even charges that are there in that regulations. And it is important always for us to have, as a House that is constitutionalized, given mandate to go through these regulations and even acts of Parliament to come up with what is important. And that is why we are supposed to go through public participation, as a Senate also, as Parliament also. So it is always important that if this committee come in with a resolution that we null these regulations, it is important that we go through quite in order. And Honorable Speaker, I would be it would be very interesting if this committee also will go through several regulations that are used within the several acts, Honorable Speaker. It will be very interesting to look at the regulation that is being used through with the SHA right now. It will be very interesting for the chair of this committee to go through the regulations that are being used to operationalize SHA. The same case to the regulations that are being used to operationalize Hustler Fund, Honorable Speaker. These are the important regulations that we really need to go through as this parliament. And as a committee, I really want to urge and request this committee to go through the regulations that are being used in several acts that we've passed when the ministries and state corporations are implementing these acts. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, I also want to support the committee recommendations to null this report. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Senators, there are no more requests, so I call upon the mover to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker. I want to sincerely thank my fellow members for having generously contributed to this very important debate. This debate, Madam Speaker, has generated a lot of interest from across the divide. Very many members have enriched the report of the committee. And as the chairman of this committee, Madam Speaker, I'm very, very impressed because the core business of this House, Madam Speaker, is to legislate. And this House today has observed that law, that's power. And I'm happy, Madam Speaker, because I don't want to go into details of why we recommended for annulment of the report, because that matter has been properly there has been properly processed by quite a number of debaters who have been able to process the whole process. So, Madam Speaker, to sum up, I would request you that pursuant to section standing order number 66.3 of the Senate standing orders, I request for the department of the putting of the question to a later date, owing to the fact that the House doesn't have a quorum to that effect.
The putting of the question is so deferred. Next order. Honorable Senators, pursuant to Standing Order number 43, I hereby wish to reorganize the order of business and call that we move on to Order number 23.
Order number 23, motion, report of the Standing Committee on energy, on the county oversight and networking engagements in Wajir County.
Chair, Energy Committee, Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to move this motion on behalf of the chair. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Senate Standing Committee on Energy on the county oversight and networking engagement in Wajir County undertaken on Friday, 25th October 2024, as laid on the table of the Senate. Madam Speaker, I present this report for consideration and approval by the House pursuant to Standing Order number 223, subsection 6 of the Senate Standing Orders. Madam Speaker, pursuant to this, its mandate under Standing Order 228, subsection 3 of the Senate Standing Orders, to provide oversight and to consider all matters relating to fossil fuel exploration, development, production, maintenance, and regulation of energy in line with the resolution at its sitting held on 8th October 2024, the Standing Committee on Energy resolved to undertake a series of county visits, which included, Madam Speaker, going to Wajir County, amongst others. Madam Speaker, these visits were aimed at assessing key factors affecting the energy subsector at the county level, with a particular focus on historically marginalized counties in the northern frontier, major urban centers and cities, as well as other counties situated especially in the North Drift, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, one of them is my own county, Elgeyo-Marakwet County, where the last mile connectivity is actually below 40%, and one of the sub-counties is standing at around 15%. Madam Speaker, in this regard, the committee conducted an oversight visit to Wajir County on 25th October 2024. During the visit, the committee held meetings with the governor and members of the county executive and members of county assembly of Wajir County, and national and regional representatives of the Kenya Power and Lighting Company, the REREC. The committee also toured Wajir KBLC substation and visited key energy-related projects within the county, including the Wajir County Recycling Plan, an industrial park, and a teachers training college in one of the constituencies, Honorable Speaker. And the community are very grateful, especially to the Member of Parliament who used CDF to put up a teacher training college. And while we were there, Madam Speaker, they had over 200 P1 students who were training to be a primary teachers, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, during these engagements, the committee sought to establish the status of the last mile connectivity projects implemented by REREC, with a particular focus on historically marginalized counties, as I have stated, in the northern frontier and also northern part of Northern Rift Valley, Honorable Speaker. The committee recognized that despite significant progress evidenced by approximately 9.7 million Kenyans homes already connected to electricity, as of late 2024, the pace of connectivity in remote and underserved regions remain a concern, with the government targeting to reach at least 10 million households by the end of 2025 and to achieve universal access by 2030, Madam Speaker. In its deliberations, the committee noted persistent barriers to last mile connectivity, including the high cost of internal wiring for consumers, which remain expensive for many low-income and rural households, especially the arid and semi-arid areas. Madam Speaker, in this particular one, we said, well, when homes are being put up, we want Kenya Power to also allow the contractors who are putting up houses to submit the electricity certificate, Madam Speaker, because sometimes homes are put up, electricians are invited to do wiring, and they are supposed to pay additional fees to allow their certificates to be used, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, additionally, limited and delayed disbursement of funds to implementing agencies such as REREC has been contributed to slow project completion rates. The committee noted that as of 2023, approximately 75% of the Kenyan households have access to electricity. However, access rates in marginalized counties, particularly those in the northern frontier, remain significantly lower, sometimes below 30%. In fact, this below 30%, Madam Speaker, is an overstatement. As I've told you, a county like Elgeyo-Marakwet County, which is not in the northern frontier, is about 32%. One of the constituencies is 15. So basically, in the northern frontier, they are below 20%. Most of the towns, it's mainly the towns that are having electricity, Madam Speaker. The committee observed with concern that Wajir County remains unconnected to the national electricity grid, rendering it world dependent on localized power generation. At the time of the committee's oversight visit, Madam Speaker, it was established that county's electricity supply was primarily reliant on 4 diesel generators. And you know, we are moving away from fossil fuel, we are going to green energy, Madam Speaker, but them, they rely entirely on generators. Kenya Power informed the committee that it was its substation serving the county relies on 4 diesel generators, and only 2 of which are owned by KBLC. The other 2 are leased from private entities, Madam Speaker. During the committee's visit, one of the generators was not even functional. So basically, they were only on 2, while the other was functioning at less than 40% of its total capacity. Consequently, there is an over-reliance on the 2 best generators, leased generators, resulting in frequent power outages and short-letting, which has undermined security, sparked public unrest, disrupted essential services, and negatively impacted local businesses. If you remember, sometimes last year, Madam Speaker, there was an arrest in Wajir because of, as a result of lack of power, Madam Speaker, that it's cost some lives. The committee recommended that the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum should give priority to historically marginalized off-grid counties, particularly Wajir, in future power transmission projects, and submit visibility studies for the proposed Garissa-Wajir transmission line. There has also been a proposal, Madam Speaker, to extend the line also from Isholo all the way to Marsabit, to Wajir, and to Mandera, Madam Speaker, to ensure that this part of the community of Kenya are served by green energy. Additionally, Kenya Power and Lighting Company should procure and install modern energy-efficient generators to replace the outdated ones in Wajir and implement a robust maintenance schedule reporting progress within 6 months. Madam Speaker, we are almost due very soon, as soon as the House resolves and adopts this report, Madam Speaker, the 6 months begins for Kenya Power to report back to the House. The Office of the Auditor General should conduct a special audit of KBLC's inventory management in Wajir, focusing on generators and stored electricity materials, and submit its finding also within 3 months. Madam Speaker, the committee also recommended that the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, through its agencies, KBLC and REREC, should ensure greater transparency in the award of energy sector contracts in the county by adopting clear public procurement guidelines that give priority to the locals. In fact, this is common across northern and North Rift, Madam Speaker, where we have banditry, where there is insecurity, where contractors are given contracts, and after a short while, Madam Speaker, they take off, they run away from the regions, and the projects keep delaying. It runs even up to 3-4 years, and we deny the people services. That's why we are saying, Madam Speaker, KPLC and REREC should give priority and give contracts to the locals, because even if there is insecurity, they are used to the area. They know how to operate and conduct, undertake the projects without delays, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to commend the Office of the Governor and the County Executive of Wajir, members of the County Assembly, representatives of KBLC and REREC, and its all stakeholders who participated in the committee's engagement and provided valuable insight, Madam Speaker. With these remarks, all this, Madam Speaker, I submit and now beg and urge the House to adopt this report so that at least we can put REREC, Kenya Power, and the ministry on their toes, so that the marginalized counties, the northern frontier, and parts of Turkana, parts of North Rift, Madam Speaker, are connected to the national grid. I beg to move and request my chair, Senator for Ishiaya, Senator Oburu, second.
Senator Oburu.
Madam Speaker, I stand to second this motion by my committee as presented by my very able deputy here. Madam Speaker, they were in Wajir, and Wajir is in very, very dire situation, Madam Speaker, because, Madam Speaker, you find a huge city like Wajir, which is serving several constituencies, is still not connected to the national grid. It's just using generators. And, Madam Speaker, it is a high time that these areas were given the attention they need. Because, Madam Speaker, I know that at independence, there was a sessional paper which was called Sessional Paper number 10 of 1965. Madam Speaker, this sessional paper, which was adopted by the Kenyan government, stated clearly that areas which did not produce high yields in terms of investment of a shilling were not going to be given priority in terms of development. So it was how much of the yield you bring on the table when a shilling is invested in your area. So because of this, these areas have very, very large tracts of land, Madam Speaker. The land also produces a lot of milk because there are a lot of cattle. Madam Speaker, the land also has very, very productive population who are very good in inventions and in trade, and they border with many countries and counties. Madam Speaker, these areas have suffered serious neglect since the independence of our country. And it is high time, Madam, that our independent government now directed attention to these areas which have been marginalized. And to me, the marginalization started right at independence because of the policies which were adopted then. Right now, we have had several changes in government with different policies, and it is, Madam Speaker, we have experiences which we know. For instance, a country like Botswana, which is all arid and in fact, almost arid all through. But just because of the minerals they have, and I'm sure we have those minerals in this country, because of the minerals they have, and also cattle, by just selling the hides. Madam Speaker, just the hides alone give them so much money because they export. They export. I went with the Minister of Energy. We traveled to Turkey. We also traveled to India. And these people are importing from Africa, from other African countries. But they told us categorically that they cannot import from Kenya. The reason being that the way we slaughter our animals is still very primitive. We just use the knives to skin our animals. And using the knives to skin animals spoils the skins. The quality of the skin goes down completely. We need to establish abattoirs, big abattoirs in this country, in these counties, so that we can properly and professionally slaughter our animals, so that the quality and the earnings from these hides and skins is improved. Madam Speaker, I don't want to speak more. I did not travel in this particular journey, but I'm pleading with the House to support this report by my committee so that we can move forward. And Madam Speaker, I want to end by saying I support and plead with the House to support us in this. Huh? To second. I second the motion. Thank you, Madam.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Energy on the county oversight and networking engagements in Wajir County laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 17th April 2025. Senator Cherarki.
Madam Speaker, let me say a few comments on this committee report. By starting off, I want to thank the youth-led Committee of Energy and the child of broad-based government, Senator Oburu Odinga, for the good job. Madam Speaker, as I always repeat that our work should be more in mashinani and grassroots than many others. Madam Speaker, I'll mention only a few comments and maybe allow the mover to reply. Let me start from the basic. When I heard the mover, the vice chairperson, talking about the challenges of electricity in Wajir, through the speaker, Chair Senator Oburu, when we also visited in January, Mandera, it is the same script, Madam Speaker. These challenges, I remember even people were when we were in Mandera, Madam Speaker, they were even requesting that they were approaching Ramadan. And it was the season that it was very hot. When you go to Mandera, it has also 4 generators, like what they have in Wajir. All of them were dysfunctional. By the time we left Kenya Power, I assured the people of Mandera that they were bringing new ones. The report we got later is that 2 new generators had broken down. Because apparently, because of the hot weather in Mandera and Wajir and northern part of this country, those generators could not be sustained. I have heard the mover talking about that Wajir, Mandera are not connected to the national grid. I think it is only Garissa, if I'm not wrong. And Madam Speaker, let me begin by the 4th schedule of the Constitution, because I'll actually have 4 points so that I can cede grounds to my colleagues. When you look at the 4th schedule, one of the roles in number 22 of the counties is energy policy. And then number 31, energy policy includes electricity and gas regulation and energy regulation. I want to challenge counties that have been marginalized, like Wajir. Kenya Power and Lighting Company is not a monopoly when we pass this constitution. When we pass the 2010 constitution, Madam Speaker, there is no monopoly of Kenya Power again. Because counties have the power to regulate energy and even gas that we might have in this region, Madam Speaker. So I want to challenge counties that have been marginalized by Kenya Power and Lighting Company, KPLC, that under the Constitution, they have the power to produce their own energy. And they can be cleared by IPRA. I know the chairperson of energy is aware that there are small dams and small people who are generating their own power. Madam Speaker, I was shocked, and I want to challenge the government of Mandera and Wajir. When you are in Mandera, the river near Bulawayo, across, can you believe, Madam Speaker, this is very interesting. Can you believe, through the chair of energy, that Somalia, which appears unstable, has a reliable electricity? Can you believe, Madam Speaker? Somalia, which we fear as unstable, they have a reliable electricity. Across, there is Ethiopia, and the electricity there is cheaper. I want to appeal and challenge Governor Omar Sabit, Wajir, Mandera, to engage the national government as a guarantee to buy and get electricity from Somalia and Ethiopia, because Kenya Power has decided to marginalize those regions. How can you explain 60 years down the line, Mr. Speaker, sir? 60 years down the line, that the great people of Mandera, Wajir, Marsabit are still being marginalized by Kenya and Power Lighting Company by not being connected to the national grid. It is very unfortunate and shameful, Mr. Speaker, sir. This constitution was a liberation to the people of Northern Kenya. The fourth schedule, number 21 and 31, Madam Speaker, they can generate, and I want to urge the county governments of those regions to engage a better option. They will wait for Kenya and Power and Company Limited to bring an electricity through REREC. The incompetency, the lethargy of REREC in this report, I'm happy the chairperson and the Energy Committee have indicted them, Mr. Speaker, sir. They have been indicted. Mr. Speaker, all of us know the unreliability of Kenya Power and Lighting Company or Kenya Power, the electricity. In fact, Mr. Speaker, when it rains, you are likely to lose electricity. It is like when Kenya Power, when electricity notices there is rain, the powers disappear, Mr. Speaker. So I want to challenge, as I support this report, that Wajir, Marsabit, Mandera, just like any other Kenyans, they have a right to access to electricity. It cannot be 60 years down the line, the people, Wajir, Mandera, and Marsabit, Mr. Speaker, do not have access to electricity. If Senator Metu knew the seriousness of the matter I'm canvassing, he would just sit down and listen. Chairperson of Energy, I would have expected in your report to recommend to those counties to do their own reticulation of energy and gas so that we can give them a chance. They cannot be marginalized. We must fight marginalization by all means. We must fight marginalization. Even in Nandi, can you believe 60 years down the line, there are areas in Tindret, in Aldai, in Mosop, in Jesumei, in Mgwen, in Nandils, like Kapchorwa, Kapchanga areas that do not have access to electricity. Yet the substation is in Moroni, where Senator Oburu Odinga's neighbor, we don't have electricity. I'm happy that Maraba, the Kenya Power want to build a substation in Maraba. At somewhere, I think, Lelkotet somewhere. So Speaker, then I have personally, I saw the residents of Cape Korgot in Wasingishu County demonstrating that they have lost electricity for 3 days. That is too few for Kenya Power. There are people who have never seen electricity for 1 month, and Kenya Power don't care. They will just send you the bill. And that bill even overcharged. But as, Mr. Speaker, whenever I'm in my local village, the great village of Kapkeben in Mosoriat, Mr. Speaker, when I'm in my palatial home, Mr. Speaker, I don't see electricity. I stay in the dark until the other day, Mr. Speaker, I had to solarize my home so that I can have a reliable electricity. I wish, through the Speaker, Chairperson, Senator Oburu, you should call Kenya and Power Lighting to order. And that is why you saw the county government of Nairobi had to dump waste in their offices because of the incompetency, lethargy, and reliability. And you know, they imagine they are the monopoly. They are not. Which monopoly do they have? The Constitution liberated all of us. So I want to challenge in the issue of Wajir. Mr. Speaker, when you travel to that northern part of Kenya, I don't want to say northern frontier district, because that has a very dangerous connotation, and my brother Senator Oburu, who has been around for some time, knows this. We should be pushing for zero taxation of solar panels and batteries, lithium panels, and anything that is environmental friendly, so that the northern part of Kenya, we can use solarization all the way to Turkana. I'm happy the committee has captured succinctly at military precision the issue of solar. We must push for solarization of northern part of this country and North Rift, including Turkana, Samburu, and other areas who experience and have at least enough sunlight, Mr. Speaker. And I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, for your information. I think the people who did the job in my home are some of the young men from your county, Bomet. So, Mr. Speaker, you need to look for a heifer, or we call in our language, Roriat, to thank me for giving them some job. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the current solar panels, you don't need the light. You only need UV light. And by midday, they have charged, and you can use to operate refrigerators and what have you. I'm happy. The chairperson, I want to challenge you. Can you push the government to zero tax the importation of solar panels, lithium batteries? Because purchasing one lithium battery is almost 120,000 to 130,000 Kenya shillings. The panels are 15,000, which is a bit affordable. You have seen them copper light. Mr. Speaker, when you travel to your village in Chepalungu, Chepala, and some areas, there is this copper that they use. We need to encourage to complement the inefficiency of Kenya Power. Let us zero rate the issue of solar. And I want to thank the chair. Please, in fact, the chair, through the speaker, we are the countries discussing about climate action. Even if we push for solarization, I can assure you the Committee of Energy led by able brother Senator Oburu Odinga, we are able to work with the climate action plan that we are pushing as a country. Even I want to further suggest to this report that we need to push for wind energy. Because I have been to northern part of Kenya, there is a lot of wind. Why don't we harness wind and we become eco-friendly, environment-friendly, so that the people of Wajir, the people of Mandera, the people of Marsabit and other areas who are not connected to the national grid, they can have reliability. And during even their religious festivals, like Ramadan period, Mr. Speaker, they really suffer. And these are our Kenyans. We must be sensitive to all religions. We want when Christians are celebrating Christmas, when Muslims are on their Ramadan, they should be able to enjoy access to electricity so that, Mr. Speaker, they can be able to celebrate some of these regulations. I'm surprised and I'm happy. It looks like the 4 generators, one is functioning at 40%, the other one has broken down, the other one are private individuals. Mr. Speaker, this is embarrassing that 60 years down the line, one region of this country continue to be marginalized, yet they are Kenyans. We don't want this habit. You remember in those days, Turkana, when the people from Turkana used to come to Nairobi, they used to say, we have come from Turkana, we are now going to Kenya. Because the first stomach would start from Kitale. And I know Senator Mandago is conversant when I say that. Mr. Speaker, number 4 is on special audit on Kenya Power and Lighting. I want to enrich, apart from activities within the Wajir, we should audit this issue of tokens, Mr. Speaker. You buy a token of 1,000 or 200 shillings, within a day or few hours, you hear dit, you cannot even sleep. It's behaving like an alarm. Mr. Speaker, I want to enrich the report by energy. Apart from special audit to AOG, can you direct that we do audit on this purchase of tokenism and prepaid? Because that is where corruption is in Kenya Power and Lighting Company. I want to challenge, apart from auditing the activities of Kenya Power in Wajir, please push for the special audit of the issue of tokenism. There are many Kenyans suffering. They pay 200. Mr. Speaker, I saw some people wanting to, and I'm happy 26 million Kenyans have received the ASELA fund, and I think 72 billion has been dispersed. Some people, I heard my colleagues who contributed in the earlier motion saying 64 shillings, 1,000. They don't know that there are Kenyans who are buying tokens of 50 shillings or 100 shillings. Is it because they are staying in offices that are air conditioned? Is it because they have too much in excess that they don't see 500 shillings or 1,000? Mr. Speaker, when I used to stay in, when I was studying in Riara Law School, here near Kibra, and that 500 shillings or even 200 shillings was enough for 4 of us to eat when we used to live in high-rise apartments in, near Kibra. and at 200, people are blaming that 500 or 1,000 is not enough. It is enough for family that operate in Kidogo economy. And therefore, the audit must be done. Chairperson, there is a huge corruption, especially on prepaid tokens in Kenya Power and Lighting Company. I've told you about, Mr. Speaker, I know you know in Chebale or in Chebalungu or in Ndonyo somewhere there, Mr. Speaker, in Bomet Central. When a tree of Kenya Power falls, Kenya Power will take even 2 months. When a generator blows up, Kenya Power will take 3 months or even a whole year. But when you fail, Mr. Speaker, to pay even 1 shilling from Kenya Power, they'll come with a lightning speed to hunt you down for not paying your bill. But they'll never come with the same speed to fix the mess. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge, even chairperson, forget they were also fake generators. Transformers, sorry. You remember the scandal of generators? You must go after them. Mr. Speaker, when you work in Bomet, in Wazingishu, in Nandi, in Mandera, anywhere in the country, you will get 1 or 2 primary schools that their transformers blew up. We need audit. Where did these fake transformers that were purchased in the previous government go to? Is it the reason? And you know, to purchase a new transformer, Mr. Speaker, sir, is I think 4 million plus, Mr. Speaker, which is quite costly and expensive. Mr. Speaker, that's why I support, and I want, Mr. Speaker, within 6 months, we must see that special audit report before the House. We want the people of Wajir to feel the same right as people in Homa Bay, Siaya, and also in Nairobi. Mr. Speaker, it is not fair to say there is power rationing. Yet we are aware, Mr. Speaker, that God has been gracious. We have, and we are hydrogenerating. Mr. Speaker, it is good to be fair that it should not. But REREC, I want, Mr. Speaker, that the Energy Committee must summon REREC to appear before our committee. Are they doing their work politically motivated, REREC? I have never understood them. And I'm surprised that they follow individuals. Mr. Speaker, REREC must be called to order. They are the ones, in conclusion, of local contractors. Why would you take a contractor? You know, chairperson, we need to be fair to Kenyans. If there is a project in Siaya, why would you take a contractor from Nairobi? How will the economy of Siaya grow? Why would I take a contractor from here to Bomet, or to Wazingishu, or to Nandi, or to Mandera? Why don't you give it to the local contractors of Wajir to do the job, so long as they have capacity? That's how you grow economy. That's the true intention of devolution, Mr. Speaker, sir. While I note your change of appearance today, Mr. Speaker, it's rare to see you in reading classes, Mr. Speaker, or is it a new swag? Mr. Speaker, we must be told. Governor Senator Mandago has been a governor. And he knows the power of giving a job to a local contractor. It will grow the economy. They will spend it there. A local contractor will buy sukuma there. He will go to a local club, take 1 or 2 for the road, go for Hangala music. I think it's called Prince Inda. Do one, take tea or mandazi there. Give something, take care of 1 or 2. Mr. Speaker, that's how you grow the economy. But if I give a contractor from Nairobi, they will hit it from Nairobi. We want that money to go there. They will go to a local church, a local contractor will contribute in a local village, will contribute in a church, will contribute. But the contractor, Mr. Speaker, I agree with this committee. REREC and Kenya Power must be called to order, that they need to award the local contractors. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to also sound a warning. You know, county governments, in conclusion, they have a pending over 110 billion. Mr. Speaker, I'm told there is obtaining fees by some of the county governors. I'm told Nairobi is reading with 30%. In Nairobi City County, Mr. Speaker, if you want to be paid, you must be ready to pay part with 30%. I'm told, like Nandi, they are doing 20%. So if you have a pending bill, you go and see governor. Then, Mr. Speaker, if you are good looking, if you are handsome, if you talk very well, you leave 30%. And that is what is happening in Nairobi. If you leave even the requisition, and we were discussing about voiding of payments, If you look even on all these aspects, here in Nairobi, I work because you must pay 30%. And when you look at the people being paid in these local contractors of Nairobi, they must part with 30% of their earnings. I think the biggest threat to the growth of contractors and business people in Kenya is this issue of undermining and getting what we call obtainer fees or protection fees from contractors. And I think, Mr. Speaker, I agree. And I would want to see, because he has said 6 months, I hope, Chairperson, when you report back to the House, bring us the list of contractors from Wajir. Let them be known that they come from Wajir. I think it will be very easy. I would be excited, even in Nandi. I want when Rara come to Nandi, they should give the local contractors. We have the capacity. We are not saying favor us. We are not saying violate the law. Give them the right. Every Kenyan, give them the right, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I want to say I support this committee report. And Chairperson.
Senator Cherargei, you are already off time. Your time is up. You have got no microphone. Give him 30 seconds to conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know why today switch off when I am giving accolades to the firstborn of broad-based government, Senator Oburu Odinga, as the chairperson of energy, is doing a good job. And we are proud with his experience. You know, there is no school of experience. It is only people like Senator Oburu we can learn from. With those many remarks, and indulgence, Chairperson, allow me to support this committee and wish this Committee of Energy all the best and its vibrance. I thank you.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. First, I rise to support the report of the Energy Committee of the Senate, Honorable Speaker, led by the Senator for Siaya, Senator Oburu Odinga. Honorable Speaker, this committee has given this House very good information in terms of ensuring that this country is equitably developed, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, indeed, as a country, in order to develop and in order to encourage growth of manufacturing, Honorable Speaker, energy or electricity is a basic requirement, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, even as government strives to build county industrial parks in every county in this country, Honorable Speaker, electricity will be a factor in attracting the industries to those counties, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, this committee has done a commendable job in bringing and informing the nation of the dire need of some counties in this country, Honorable Speaker, of being connected to the national grid. It is not acceptable, Honorable Speaker, that we do have counties in this country, 60 years after independence, who are not connected to the national grid, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank this administration of Kenya Kwanza, led by President William Ruto, Honorable Speaker, because for the first time, there is a deliberate and affirmative action towards liberation of those regions, Honorable Speaker, and we have seen this by the road connections that are being built to ensure the ease of transportation. We are hopeful that there is also a master plan on energy to ensure that these regions are connected to the national grid. Honorable Speaker, Wajir, Mandera, Marsabit, Turkana, and many other arid and semi-arid counties, Honorable Speaker, have good, natural, clean energy that can be tapped to generate electricity, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we have the Lake Turkana wind power, which was a very brilliant idea, Honorable Speaker, but unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, there was a problem in that project of delay and the manner in which the contract was crafted in favor of the contractor. Today, Honorable Speaker, the cost of that project in excess of what the project had been procured for has been passed to Kenyans all over the country without actually consuming the power from Lake Turkana wind power project. I also want to urge this committee that has done a good job to look into this matter of Lake Turkana wind power, Honorable Speaker, because wind is another form of clean energy that can be utilized on those counties. And Honorable Speaker, when we talk of connecting Wajir County and Mandera and the other counties into the national grid, we are not saying that the power must be generated through hydro. It is possible to generate in large-scale power production through solar farms, through wind power, Honorable Speaker, and connect the whole of that region to the national grid, and even possibly, Honorable Speaker, supply extra power for purposes of reducing the cost of energy in the country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to encourage the committee to pursue REREC, which has a clear mandate in terms of developing renewable clean energy, Honorable Speaker, to focus on these regions. Honorable Speaker, it doesn't make sense for REREC and the Ministry of Energy to begin pursuing solar projects in areas where we have hydro, in areas where we already have connectivity, Honorable Speaker, where we have the grid. They should, all renewable energy projects for wind and solar, Honorable Speaker, should actually be focused on these regions so that these regions can have consistent power. Honorable Speaker, I also want to ask the Chair of the Senate Energy Committee to look into the operations of Kentraco also, Honorable Speaker. Because as we speak, Honorable Speaker, a county like West Pokot is unable to get power for a number of factories that have gone to those regions, like the cement factory, Honorable Speaker, because there is a transmission transformer that was procured at a cost of close to 400 million Kenya shillings, Honorable Speaker. The transformer was transported from Mombasa. Unfortunately, there was an accident somewhere on the way, Honorable Speaker, and the transformer was damaged. The mode of transportation was not procured. It was not insured. It has resulted into a loss. And up to date, Honorable Speaker, that transformer has not been replaced. It means the plan of enabling connectivity in a number of places in the country has been hampered by that, Honorable Speaker, and the Cabinet Secretary for Energy, the Senate Energy Committee, must take decisive action on that matter, Honorable Speaker, so that the officers who are involved should actually be surcharged to make sure that value for money is gotten. Same to Lake Turkana wind power, Honorable Speaker. That Lake Turkana wind power would have possibly supplied power to parts of Marsabit, and probably, Honorable Speaker, would have been a model that would have been replicated in all these other counties to make sure that we have sufficient energy, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, counties should also put part of the money we appropriate in this House into ensuring that their citizens and their cities and their markets have electricity, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we have witnessed that when electricity is supplied, when street lights and floodlights are supplied in the markets, Honorable Speaker, there is more time for the business people to conduct their business, and they can extend the time they do business, Honorable Speaker, from 6 p.m. all the way to 10 p.m., Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this will enable the traders and the customers to be able to operate at the times they are comfortable with. Considering, Honorable Speaker, that those parts of the country, Wajir, Mandera, Marsabit, experience very high temperatures in the day, Honorable Speaker, traders and business people would prefer, particularly those dealing with foodstuffs, Honorable Speaker, to trade in the evenings and into the night, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, the requirement for electrification is a basic need for that region, for them to be able to go about their business, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the recommendation of audit of how the assets of Kenya Power are being handled, Honorable Speaker, I think is a timely recommendation. And I would say, Honorable Speaker, this should not be limited to Wajir County. The Auditor General should actually look at the storage of the assets of Kenya Power, Honorable Speaker, because across the country, you will sometimes find electric poles that were distributed, they were never raised, there were no wires, there is no connectivity. 2-3 years, the poles are rotting there, and the projects are not taking off. This is a matter that needs to be looked into. Honorable Speaker, there is a very critical matter. I want to agree with the Senator for Nandi, Senator Gerard Gay, that Kenya Power, REREC, and all other government departments, Honorable Speaker, must be deliberate in ensuring that the procurement opportunities available in the state departments are equitably distributed across the country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, today in this country, we have no shortage of electricians, technicians in this country, because the government of Kenya deliberately decided that we are going to have a technical training institute in every constituency in this country. And I'm happy, Honorable Speaker, that that dream is almost being realized 100%, because we now have more than 150 TTIs across the country, ensuring that the availability of technical personnel to undertake some of these projects, Honorable Speaker, in any locality in this country is availed. There is no reason absolutely as to why REREC should transport a contractor from here to Ajia, transport a contractor from here to Samia, transport a contractor from here to Tana River. Honorable Speaker, if we want to grow the economy of this country and develop this country in an equitable manner, Honorable Speaker, we have to ensure that the state departments distribute the procurement opportunities across this country. Honorable Speaker, by ensuring that we go this direction of ensuring that procurement opportunities are distributed, and where possible, an entity like REREC, Honorable Speaker, that operates their projects based on the constituencies, they should actually distribute those procurement opportunities to every constituency in the country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this will have a good effect in ensuring that all Kenyans participate in the growth of the economy of this country. So that, Honorable Speaker, we don't have a few citizens who would lecture us and tell us they are the owners of the economy. The economy begins with them, Honorable Speaker, and the economy will end with them, and that if they stop either international remittances or they stop investing and doing business in this country, Honorable Speaker, then the rest of Kenya will stop moving. It is extremely important that we make sure that these opportunities are well distributed, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, finally, I wish to thank this committee for traveling all the way to Ajia County. And we would want to encourage that as many committees travel to these far counties, Honorable Speaker, so that we appreciate the geographical vastness of some of these counties, the marginalization that has happened over time, Honorable Speaker, and appreciate the need to come up with programs that enable those counties and regions to develop in a more faster manner, Honorable Speaker, and that this country would come to a fairly uniform rate of development across the nation, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the generators that are being used to generate electricity in this country, Honorable Speaker, I feel there are some that whose time has come to be switched off, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we have electricity generators in this city of Nairobi, Honorable Speaker. I don't understand why we still want to consume electricity generated through these generators, diesel-powered generators, Honorable Speaker, in the city of Nairobi, where connectivity is almost 95% and the supply from our hydro supplies is sufficient, Honorable Speaker. We cannot sustain individual businessmen in this country at the expense of other citizens. I would appreciate if that generator or those generators, Honorable Speaker, would be installed in those counties so that we have consistent power supply, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, counties are responsible for health facilities. County governments have worked hard to ensure that they are establishing level 4 and level 5 facilities. Those facilities will not operate optimally, Honorable Speaker, if there is no reliable electricity. You can imagine, Honorable Speaker, in a county, in an hospital where you are supposed to keep some drugs and vaccines under refrigeration, Honorable Speaker, and you have power that is not consistent. It means we shall be exposing the citizens of that county, Honorable Speaker, to medication that is not guaranteed to have been stored in the required temperatures and in a manner that has the efficacy that is required to treat the disease that they are meant for, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, remember these facilities also run maternity facilities. We have newborn units, Honorable Speaker, and sometimes there is need for a baby to be put in a nursery. Honorable Speaker, those nursery machines operate through electricity. You can imagine what will happen to those babies, Honorable Speaker, if we have inconsistent and unreliable power. Therefore, the supply of power and the need of electricity, Honorable Speaker, is not a luxury but a basic need that is required to drive all services in government and in the economy and in the population, Honorable Speaker. I support this report and thank the committee for the job they have done well. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mandago. Honorable Senators, there being no other member wishing to contribute to this report, I ask the chairperson of Energy Committee, the Honorable Senator Oburu, to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity to reply. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to reply and thank my fellow senators who have contributed to this report, and all the comments taken are taken very kindly, Mr. Speaker, because electricity is an essential element of development in any country. There's no country which can develop without electricity. It is not a luxury. It is a necessity. And when we talk about it, there are many, many issues which arise. The members have raised issues. Some of them are directly to our report of Wajir, but some are generally which affect electricity supply all over the country. And we take all of them and we note them, and we are discussing. Some of them are already being discussed. They will be in some other reports which will be here also tabled here in the House soon. And Mr. Speaker, I therefore, pursuant to Standing Order 66, caption 3 of the Senate Standing Orders, I request the Department of, I request that the question be put to a later date. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Senator Oburu. Putting of the question on this report is hereby deferred to the next sitting of this House. Now, Honorable Senators, for the convenience of the remainder of the business of the House, we shall defer Order number 12, 13, 14, Order number 15, Order number 16, 17, all through to Order number 22, and further defer Order 24, Order number 25, Order number 26, and Order 27 to the next sitting of the House. We may now rise. Now, Honorable Senators, there being no other business on the order paper, the Senate stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, 7th of August, 2024, at 2:30 p.m.
various roles in service delivery, regulation, and development as the end authority that touches the road from the executive to serve the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, one such I want to cite two, because members have exhaustively contributed to the NSSF. I want to draw your attention, Chair, and that of the House, to the Child Welfare Society. One, children are our heritage. The attention we pay to this particular institution will demonstrate how we, as parents and as leaders and as a country, care about the future of this country. Our children need our protection. They need an organization which is clearly defined by law. When we were interacting with the reports concerning the child welfare, we discovered, Mr. Speaker, and I think further on, there is need to relook at the status in terms of its definition and position in law. At one time, it is declared as a trust with very strong legal backing that it can never be tampered by anyone, cannot be changed. And when you look at it closely, it looks like a private entity. At one time, Mr. Speaker, it was made to be a corporation. At one time, that status has been repealed. There is something wrong with the status of this particular entity. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I want to draw the attention of the House that in our observation, we discovered that amongst others, that state agencies, there is a laxity in terms of availing land which hosts development. Some of these institutions are served and they enjoy donor funding. And one of the conditions, Mr. Speaker, is that that particular entity must be having land owned and registered under its name. I wish to remind the House, because we know about it, that the Constitution of Kenya, and I'm coming back to the importance of our children. In Article 53, Mr. Speaker, read together with the Children's Act, what they call the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, which is another important instrument. It is important as we debate on this report, we pay attention to some details that children must enjoy our protection as a nation and as families, that they are entitled to that, to be protected from abuse, from neglect, harmful cultural practices, all forms of violence, inhumane treatment and punishment, and as such as exploitative labor. Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage that as we read this report to this House, there are two important things that we would like the members of this House and the nation to mind. Number one is funding. I do not understand, Mr. Speaker, why the fiscal planning of this country, those who are manning it, and especially the Ministry of National Treasury, would consider that giving a better budget to our children is a burden to our economy. This is an institution that requires a priority because it is about our future, Mr. Speaker. It is about the inheritance of this country. Number two, Mr. Speaker, is the the recent merger of some entities, the reason given by the task force was that some of these entities were almost like a liability to the country. And they have included child welfare that is going to be merged with others. And they included some institutions that protects our children, like Kenya Film Classification Board. This is a regulator that regulates content, Mr. Speaker, that makes sure that what we watch in our houses are regulated and that our children are protected from harmful films. Now, recommendation that is before this House, which has come to us, is that these institutions should be dissolved and that the act protecting it should be repealed and the functions to be transferred as a department somewhere in a little corner in one of the ministries. Mr. Speaker, in the interest of our children, we must value institutions that takes care of our children. Britain has it. They have enhanced it. South Africa has it. They have enhanced it. Canada has it. America has it. India has it. And several other countries, including Australia, Mr. Speaker. So as it comes to the House for a discussion, in the interest of our children, let us not only protect institutions, but finance them and enhance their capacity in protecting our children. With that, Mr. Speaker, I support the report.
Very well. The Honorable Eric Muchangi, before we listen to veteran Adam Kenyan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. And from the onset, Mr. Speaker, allow me to support this report by the Honorable Wangwe and the very good job done by his committee. And Honorable Speaker, one of the things that I have observed in this report is that so many times the committee observed that there was a violation of the Public Finance Management Act, of the Public Audit Act, the Income Tax Act, by the accounting officers. And Honorable Speaker, I think it is important that we do not leave it at us observing that they have violated these provisions of the law, because their continued violation of the provisions of these laws is that we continue losing resources as a country. And I believe that this country has a lot of resources with it, and especially the ones that people contribute in terms of taxes. And if this money is not wasted, there is so much that we can do as a country using these resources. So I believe that the EACC, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, should move with speed. Now that they have been granted more powers, prosecutorial powers, they should move with speed and ensure that there is compliance with the provisions of these laws and many others, so that we do not continue having our resources wasted or stolen. Honorable Speaker, we also must look into the issue of more funds for the Auditor General Office, because we believe that if this office is more or adequately resourced, then it is possible for them to help us get to understand how our resources are being utilized at the parastatals and many other entities where public resources are being expensed. Honorable Speaker, I want to stop there and support this report.
I really was keen when one of the earlier speakers did speak on one of the entities almost looking like a private institution. I remember you have been the chair of Labour, And when I interacted with that institution of child welfare, at one time it looks like private. So, Chair, deal with that matter more seriously. Let's hear the Honorable Adan Kinan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from the onset, allow me to congratulate the committee for bringing this great report. Having chaired this committee once, this giant former committee called PIC, and having gone through this report, I now realize why it was important actually to split the committee into a number of sector-based committees, Mr. Speaker. Because when I see the Kenya, the Child Welfare Society of Kenya, it never dawned on us actually when I was the chair for 5 years actually to go through the accounts. But Mr. Speaker, having said this, there are a number of things that we need to look at. We have invoked the Public Finance Management Act. We have invoked the Public Audit Act. We have invoked the State Corporations Act. We have invoked the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. I think there's a change. It has a new name. We have also invoked the National Assembly Standard Orders Act and the National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act, which was my bill. And we have also invoked the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, what comes to our mind is the relevance of Parliament as true representative of the people. And two, the reason why the framers of the current Constitution allowed the Office of the Auditor General to be a complete independent office. Mr. Speaker, if we combine the roles of these two entities, constitutional entities, Parliament as the true representative of the people, and the Office of the Auditor General, then we'll be in a position, Mr. Speaker, to look at critically the financial performance of some of these entities, compliance with the financial management and regulation system, and generally their governance structure and their operational efficiency. Mr. Speaker, why do I say this? I'm sure you are aware, NSF has been in existence for many years. And I'm told, you are a veteran trade unionist. Mr. Speaker, the NSF of yesteryears and the NSF of today is completely different. And I want to commend the government, the president in particular, for taking bold steps. Mr. Speaker, I'm told right now, the NSF of yesteryears used to be a cash cow. The NSF of yesteryears used to be a mechanism for the politically correct. It used to be a heaven of land grabbers. It used to be the epicenter of corruption. And Mr. Speaker, to the extent that the retirees used to wonder whether they will get their pension, whether they will get their benefits. I'm told today, Mr. Speaker, the NSF of today collects a whooping over 6, 7, 8 billion monthly from less than 1.2 billion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, countries that have joined the League of Developed Nations, like Malaysia, Mr. Speaker, even our neighbor Tanzania here, borrow from their social security fund, Mr. Speaker, to manage critical national infrastructure project, Mr. Speaker. If you go to Malaysia, you will see that the Malaysian Social Security Fund actually is like a quasi-government. It's a government in way. It's a government actually in the field. Our brothers in Tanzania have done the same. Isn't it the time, Mr. Speaker, that we do the same and use the resources of NSF, if properly managed, to undertake critical national infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, that will reduce the cost of our external debt, Mr. Speaker, that will reduce the depletion of our foreign exchange, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that's why I want to commend the chair and team and urge them to critically further look into the financial management of NSF so that we have a reformed, efficiently managed NSF, Mr. Speaker, and that's what this country needs. That's what the current generation needs. That's what the next generation needs. That is what we needed yesterday, but it didn't happen, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that is the NSF that I'm looking forward to see, and I want to commend the management of NSF, led by Mr. Koros and team, for this bold and decisive step. This is not the end. We want them to move further and ensure that NSF becomes the best quasi-government agency, not only in Kenya, but the entire East Africa, and they have the capacity. Mr. Speaker, if you look at also this report, another critical agency that has been mentioned is the Communication Authority. We are in the era of social media dominance. Mr. Speaker, we are in the era of artificial intelligence. We are in the era of lobbyism. Mr. Speaker, I want to urge, and I know this is a latter-day entity in our governance platform, I want to urge the Communication Authority to up its games and ensure that every Kenyan abides by the law so that there is fairness in dissemination of information. There is fairness, Mr. Speaker, in criticism. There is also fairness on how some of these activities actually are carried out. That doesn't mean that they shall apply draconian rules, no. Allow the right to freedom, allow people to apply their social media space, but that must also be done with civility. It must also be done with adherence to the rule of law. Mr. Speaker, that's why I want to thank the chair and team for also looking into the account of the Communication Authority, Mr. Speaker. The other one, Mr. Speaker, is Kenya Institute of Public Policy Research and Analysis. Mr. Speaker, any country that does not invest in research, any country that does not invest in public policy, Mr. Speaker, in analysis, is a country that is hell-bent on not developing, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the framers, why this institution, the Kenya Institute of Public Policy Research and Analysis, those of us who have gone to school, Mr. Speaker, you understand the eminence, the preponderance of research. Research is the basis, not only for academic excellence, Mr. Speaker, but for technological innovation, Mr. Speaker, business opportunities, economic expansion, Mr. Speaker, and literally getting the right information. And this is why this institution, Mr. Speaker, is not only for the professors, it's not only for the academic giants, Mr. Speaker. This institute is supposed to provide the bulwark of research, some of the finest research. That's why Kenya must benefit from the research generated and disseminated by these key agencies, Mr. Speaker, so that we can move to the next stage and join the league of the highly sophisticated, the highly technologically oriented nation, Mr. Speaker, that you see in the whole world. And this is where Kenya is supposed to be. Mr. Speaker, the other bit is the issue of the Child Welfare Society, as I said earlier. It's critical because we have not done this. And this is something that we need to look at so that this society remains alive to its core mandate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the other one is the issue of the SACCO society's regulatory authority, Mr. Speaker. We have so many SACCOs in this country, Mr. Speaker. They need to be regulated. You are a product of that entity, Mr. Speaker. That regulation cannot come unless we have an effective, efficient, Mr. Speaker, highly managed SACCO society's regulatory authority. I'm told there was a delay in the management, in the performance, or in the appointment of the chair, and I think this is something that that should not have happened, Mr. Speaker. And now that it has happened, we need to address it. Mr. Speaker, looking at it, the report, there are a number of issues that come to the fore, Mr. Speaker. One is this need to uphold public accountability. And this is why, Mr. Speaker, the framers of the current constitution equated the members of parliament to sovereignty. Sovereignty, Mr. Speaker, is something so critical in the making of any nation, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, that oversight, parliamentary oversight role, which has been clearly applied by the committee, Mr. Speaker, is something that provides the continuation and performance of the role of the member of parliament. Now, I want to thank the committee members for taking time in analyzing this and bringing this together, Mr. Speaker. The other one, Mr. Speaker, we are a country that believes in the rule of law, and therefore we must be ready to catalyze, Mr. Speaker, our governance and financial reforms. This is something that in the past there was no clear framework. And therefore, as the committee delves into this, and taking into account this being the fourth report since this committee was formed, it is only fair that we need to look at some of the inefficiencies that require institutional structure, Mr. Speaker, that require stronger audit committee, Mr. Speaker, and tighter risk management. And this is why this committee, led by my former APO whip, Mr. Speaker, is up to the task. Mr. Speaker, we need also to restore public confidence. Mr. Speaker, you have seen in the recent past, public confidence has been waning, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, part of the activities of this committee, Mr. Speaker, is to look at critically the role of these committees, Mr. Speaker, and bring back public confidence. Because we are there. Perception is a very important thing, Mr. Speaker. Kenyans must have faith in their institution. And this is why this report is timely, because it will bring back public confidence. And I want to thank the chair and the committee members for taking time, Mr. Speaker, to bring back public trust and transparency in some of these, how some of these organizations are being managed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the other one is shaping the budget and policy decisions, Mr. Speaker. It's a critical component.
Add him 1 minute. 2.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. There are certain challenges that we need to look at. Legislatively, Mr. Speaker, through regulatory network, Mr. Speaker, what is it? We're using still outdated audit timelines, Mr. Speaker. This must be addressed so that Kenyans also benefit from some of the best modern day